What if I told you that strength isn't about being untouchable, but about being unshaken in the storm? What if the reason you're tired isn't because life is too hard, but because you're constantly shielding yourself from how deeply it can hurt? And what if the peace you've been pretending to have could finally become real because it no longer has to be a performance? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to truly live from a place of inner strength? Not just pretending you're okay, not just surviving, but moving through life untouched by rejection, betrayal, or judgment. So many of us are worn down, not by what happens to us, but by the effort it takes to keep up the appearance that we're unaffected. We smile when we want to scream. We people please while quietly falling apart. We hold back our tears because somewhere along the line we were taught that showing emotion meant being weak. But here's a radical idea. What if real strength isn't about suppression, but about integration? This message is for those who are tired, not weak, tired. Tired of carrying invisible loads no one can see. Tired of always needing to be in control. Tired of giving pain more power than it deserves. You've earned a truth few are brave enough to say out loud. Pain doesn't own you. Your resistance to pain does. But the good news, that can change. Right here, right now. Before we go further, don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Stoic and join our Telegram community so you don't miss any content on personal and spiritual growth. Let's begin. You might believe the source of your pain is what others did to you, the betrayal, the criticism, the abandonment. But the truth, while more uncomfortable, is also more liberating. What hurts isn't what happened. It's what it activated inside of you when it happened. Carl Jung once said, "We are not what happens to us. We are what we choose to become." And the moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life, and instead as its interpreter, everything changes. Pain only holds power where wounds already exist. A trigger is not an attack, it's a mirror reflecting what's still unhealed within you. That's why two people can hear the same words. One breaks down, the other walks away unfazed. It's not the event, it's where it lands. And if something stings, that doesn't mean you're fragile. It means there's still healing waiting to happen. Many of us are stuck in a loop of trying to be enough, kind enough, strong enough, perfect enough, as if flawlessness could shield us from pain. But perfection is just fear dressed up as control. And control, it's an illusion. The more tightly you hold it, the more deeply you suffer. Jung also said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That wasn't poetry. That was psychology. Your anger, your sadness, your anxiety, they're not flaws. They're messages, internal alarms, warnings. Every overreaction is an echo from the past. Every emotional spike, a signpost. What gives them power isn't the current moment, it's the unhealed wounds beneath it. And here's the hardest part. Repression doesn't get rid of pain, it just buries it alive. And anything buried grows stronger in the dark. Unhealed wounds become patterns. You relive the same arguments, the same failures, the same emotional roller coasters over and over like fate on repeat. But it's not fate, it's unconscious repetition. And the moment you see this, you gain responsibility. Because healing doesn't begin when pain disappears. It begins when you finally stop running and start listening. Emotional mastery isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of awareness in the middle of emotion. What Jung called individuation isn't some grand destination. It's a descent into the parts of you that you've tried to avoid, reject, or deny. We live in a world that tells you to rise above, to toughen up, to stay unaffected. But what if the way out is actually in? In the last section, we began to explore what it truly means to heal, not by running from pain, but by facing it with clarity and compassion. Now let's go deeper. What the world often labels as strength is more often than not just disconnection in disguise. We've been taught that being detached means being strong, but detachment isn't resilience. It's a quiet form of self-abandonment. True integration, the kind that brings lasting peace, isn't about building walls. It's about coming home to every part of yourself. The grief you buried, the rage you tucked away, the needs you pretended didn't exist. Healing doesn't come from perfecting the performance. It begins the moment you rip off the mask. You are not your trauma. But let's be honest, you are shaped by the parts of your past you haven't fully faced. And until you do, you'll continue reacting instead of responding. fragile, defensive, easily thrown off course. But when you stop fighting yourself, when fear, shame, and insecurity are no longer enemies, you become rooted. Nothing inside you is rejected anymore. You stop operating from fragments and instead move from wholeness. That's where true clarity lives, to feel deeply, to respond with presence instead of panic, to understand instead of defend. That's strength, not the hollow kind that numbs, but the kind that knows. From the earliest moments in life, many of us were taught to avoid pain, to see it as something shameful, to keep smiling, to keep moving, to hide it away. But Carl Jung saw it differently. To Jung, pain was the soul's voice, a sacred messenger from deep within, speaking up when everything else had been ignored. Depression, anxiety, anger, these aren't personal failures. They're signals, alerts from your unconscious asking for attention. And your suffering, it grows most intensely when two parts of you are in battle, the part that longs to grow and the part that fears what growth demands. Your ego craves certainty, control, and predictability. But your deeper self, the one wired for transformation, knows that growth often requires collapse. And that can feel terrifying. Pain isn't a punishment, it's the natural byproduct of resistance. And when you finally stop resisting, when the image you've been clinging to shatters, when the mask slips away, you don't meet your failure. You meet your truth, your essence. And in that moment, suffering becomes sacred. Not because pain is noble, but because it led you back to what truly matters, you. Before we continue, I truly hope this message is resonating with you. If it is, please share this video with someone who might need to hear it. And if you'd like to support the work we're doing here, you can leave a donation by clicking the thanks button below. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's keep going. To be untouchable doesn't mean to feel nothing. It means to be whole. It's not about becoming immune to pain, but learning how to stay centered through it. You no longer chase approval. You stop trying to be understood by people who don't even understand themselves. You no longer apologize for your feelings because now you own them. And when you own them fully, something unbreakable begins to grow inside you. Self-acceptance. That's what true power looks like. Being untouchable doesn't mean you never fall apart. It means you've learned how to rebuild yourself, calmly, honestly, without shame. Not because you never break, but because every time you do, you rise stronger, wiser, more awake, more you. The goal was never to avoid breaking. The goal is to stop believing that breaking means the end. Most people never make it this far. They start the journey, then retreat. They return to what's familiar, the old stories, the old masks, the safety of surface living. But if you're here, still listening, still feeling, you are not most people. You're ready. This is the final crossing. When you stop blaming life, when you stop outsourcing your peace, when you stop asking the world to stop hurting you and instead begin asking, why does it still have that power over me? That's when everything shifts. Jung said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. Now, you know, your greatest protection isn't strength in the way the world defines it. It's awareness. You don't need to build walls to protect yourself from emotion. You need to feel fully, presently, truthfully. You may still cry, but now you understand why. You may still hurt, but it won't break you because you've stopped running. You've stopped hiding, you've stopped pretending, and most importantly, you've started living. And now nothing and no one can hurt you the way they once did, because now you see. If any part of this resonated with you, don't let it just be a video. Let it be the start of something real. Comment below, I choose awareness. Let's build something together. Not a movement of perfect people, but of whole ones. And if you're ready to keep going, subscribe to the Daily Stoic. This is a space for deep minds, honest growth, and real transformation. You're not finished yet. The next part of this journey continues in the next video. You're not alone. I'll see you there.